Hello there and welcome to Gaming Chat. You see, buying video games at the release date I find to be a form of instant gratification. Now, what I'm going to be talking about is really a continuation of another Gaming Chat episode I made. In fact, it was the first one I ever made, but buying new games versus used. So if you haven't seen that Gaming Chat, I would suggest watching that one first, so that way you can piece it all together and form a full opinion on everything that I'm about to say. So I have some notes written, hanging up right in front of me, so if I don't make eye contact, I apologize. It's because I'm reading my notes. Now, anyway, like I was saying, is that I find that buying them at release is a form of instant gratification. It's something many of us do, but at the same time, I find it to be very bad for your wallet. I mean, we can't do that all the time because when you really think about it, that's pretty expensive pretty quickly on a really, good summer or winter, when Christmas time comes. You got to make some choices. And in fact, it's going to be a big setback to expanding your library. So what I want to talk about is why that is not something that you should do. In fact, to further the gaming community, I think there's a much better way to do everything. So let's talk about that. Now, you see, at first glance, a form of instant gratification is appealing. You say, ooh, I've been waiting for that game, or oh, my friends are gonna get that game, and you're like, yes, I need to do that. We all need to do that. Let's do it together, But that's just what it is, instant gratification. And as everyone knows in life, instant gratification is really one of the worst forms of gratification that there is. You see, it's just momentary. It's not a good feeling after it goes away. It doesn't last. It's hurtful, actually, after a while, depending on what it is. For me, in buying a game at new and seeing it just go down in price half a year later, half a year later to me is actually not that long. Some, they say, oh, that's plenty of time, but for me, it's kind of hurtful to see some of the games drop in price that dramatically. So, when you are buying a new game, in terms of it being released, like I said, there's several things that can come out of it. One is, the anticipation is now released. The instant gratification of having that release of, phew, I can finally play this game. I've been waiting months for it. For some games, even years, if we're talking something like Zelda especially being delayed over and over, right? Or even Final Fantasy 15 being a thing. Anticipation, build up, and then finally, it's here. And it's like a prayer has been answered. The next thing, though, aside from being built up through trailers and new articles and all that stuff, being hyped, making us want it on the day that it comes out, you have your friends. They also are hyped about it. And the more friends you have hyped about it, the more peer pressure there is for all of you to get it at once. So, after you and your friends were all aboard the hype train and you get off and you get the game, you're all out $60 a piece, you're all playing the game, you're all having fun, right? That's the point of it. That's a wonderful thing. Now, I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm saying that doing it all the time could be. Now, we all have that game that we all want, we all buy new. That's great. And we all have friends. Whenever there's a new Call of Duty or what have you, everyone does it. You all play it. You all get the DLC. If you're getting your money's worth, then be happy about it. This is not to take away from that. But, you see, in fact, it all sounds great and everything, and for me, it's Zelda games. Zelda games is what I always get new. Always. Because I just love the Zelda franchise, but that's the only game I ever guaranteed get new. Very rarely will I ever get something else. I might get a Harvest Moon when it's new. I might get some sort of thing for my fiance and I to play together for the Wii U or what have you. But new typically never enters this house, okay? So, the reason why I get the Zelda games new is for the same reason as probably most of you guys, anticipation. I wait a long time for a new Zelda game. I go years waiting for some of them. I mean, I want it. And to me, it's just such a desire, such a need, because Zelda is my favorite thing. I mean, some of you guys know I'm a collector, right? Well, I would love to get a lot of these other things new. I would have loved to get, new Super Mario Brothers U new. I would like to get, you know, whatever the next Mario Galaxy or Sunshine or whatever game is going to be new, right? But can't do it all the time. I'm only one person with one wallet, and even if you have a significant other like I do, certain things in life come first. You know, you got bills to pay. Now, I talked about in the previous video about why I buy used games. You know, and there's a lot of good reasons financially. And I talked about coordinating with your friends, okay? Well, your friends, like I said, they're in the same boat as you in the previous episode. They all, you know, probably want to have their money go farther. You should coordinate with your friends. You know, the anticipation's so great, right? But what if you and your friends started to decide, hey, new Call of Duty's coming out. There's going to be one every year. Why not be a year behind the times? Why not get the Game of the Year edition? Why not get everything for a much cheaper price? I mean, really, if you and 10 of your friends, you know, you'll party all the time, do things, whatever, I'm sure that you all would appreciate having Game of the Year edition of Call of Duty or something, or Halo for $30, when you could get it new for $60, plus the DLC tacked on for probably another $20, looking at $80. So you're looking at like a $50 savings right there. Or even if the Game of the Year edition is $60, it's like getting the DLC free. You all win if you can save money, and you all still get to play together. And you know what you could do with that extra money? You could put it towards other games that you want, you know, that are solo or in your downtime, or even more multiplayer games. If all of you just coordinate with one another, and you could still buy it new. Like I said, this isn't even about buying used games. This is about buying a new Game of the Year edition. Think of it like with Borderlands. At the time that I'm making this, you know, Borderlands the pre-sequel has come out. Not gonna get that right now. Did with Borderlands 2. Okay, I got that right when it was new because there was, you know, such a great anticipation, such a great need. But they did such a good job releasing DLC slowly and everything, but at the same time at a good pace that, you know what, it was worthwhile for us to get the DLC. I really felt like we got our money's worth. We spent great time playing it together, my fiance and I. Had a wonderful time almost every night, playing a little bit here and there. We made it last. And that was only up to a few months ago, so we're kind of borderlanded out. And so by us taking our time too, and coordinating ourselves with the DLC, we really extended the game ever since its release, all the way up to the release of the pre-sequel. And now the pre-sequel's here, we need a break. We're not ready for more Borderlands, not yet. And so we'll be able to get a Game of the Year edition at some point for a fraction of the price, and we can still get it new and support the developer. Sure, it won't be the same as what the launch people did, but I'm all for supporting the developer. So before, in my previous video, when I talked about I almost always buy exclusively used games, well, this is a situation where you and your friends and the developer can all benefit from having a new game. You can all save money. You can get a nice new Game of the Year edition, or just a nice new game at like $40 instead of $60. You all win. Sure, the developers don't win as much as they would probably like to, but at least you don't have to feel guilty about buying a used game. You all can participate. Or you can all buy used games, you know, depending on what the savings are. But like I said, that's my way of combating buying used games. Buying them new, like in a form of a Game of the Year edition, all together, so none of you are left behind. Or, you know, if you don't care, like we don't, we just care about what games we play together. There's some that we have some friends that we'd like to buy new, and we're behind on them because unfortunately they don't want to wait. They have the money. That's their choice. It's your choice. And that's okay. I'm sure we miss out, but we make it up in other areas too. By saving so much money, you know what? As sucky it is to sometimes not being able to coordinate with other friends because they don't want to. They have their money, they want the game. They want their instant release. Because like I said, there's nothing wrong with that, as long as you're happy. But for us, that meant we could do more date days. That meant we could buy things that we really need. Or that meant we could put more in our savings account for when emergencies happen. Like I've been in a hospital in and out every now and then for some sort of new surgery or new thing or whatever. You know what? The money was there. So there's so many ways to make the dollar stretch that much farther and still having everyone win. Now, here's some other stuff. I want to talk about DLC, right? I talked about getting the full game plus DLC for a lower price than the early adopters, right? The early adopters are the real losers in my world. which is a shame because I feel like they should be the real winners. So, let's see. What I wrote here is when you get something new, alright? Whether it's a new phone, a computer, a game, shortly after release, there's a huge patch. There's bug fixes. So I guess this has nothing to do with DLC. Basically, I'm also skeptical of buying a game at launch because it seems like games are so big these days. Some people are complaining that devs do not test their games enough. They say, oh, there's bugs all over the place or whatever. Well, some of these bugs they didn't even know existed. There's certain things that they just never would think to explore. You know, like, oh, press the A button, do a motorcycle trick while doing the Grand Theft Auto thing over there. I mean, really, there's so many weird things out there that they would just never be able to test them all. And games are getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. They would need bigger and bigger and bigger people testing them. And I've always been a huge supporter of what if there was people that, if you really want to expand the base and get kudos with the companies, why not take in a bunch of fans, like myself, for example. Let's say there's a new Zelda game coming out. They want to test to make sure all the bugs are gone, right? Or as best to the ability, so there doesn't have to be a day one patch and annoy and piss everyone off, and possibly have save files be corrupted. Now, I don't want to buy a game like that on the day it comes out. Why would I give $60 towards someone and then possibly even buy DLC, pre-order DLC, happily give people my money, right, on the day it comes out for a product that doesn't exist yet? Why would I do that? Possibly get it home, play for 10 hours, and then have my game crash, lose my save file, go through all that. I mean, some people might say, oh, well, it's a game, you get to do it again, it's fun. Well, no, when you get so immersed in something, you get so connected with your save, some of it is considered hard work. It feels like an achievement. You know? You don't want to redo that stuff if you're forced to redo that stuff. That's the difference. Some people like to play things over and over, but if you're forced into playing it over, it's not at your pace, it's not at your call, and it just makes you angry. So you have to wait for a patch. You have to wait for an update. Who knows how long that could be? Could be a day, could be a week. Whatever it is, you have to wait, because if you start up another save file, there might be a potential loss all over again. You don't know what triggered the problem. No one can figure it out. So you're just stuck with a $60 wasted sitting there. So one of my ideas is, not to get sidetracked here, but what if you took people off the street who are fans, like myself, like if you were testing a new Zelda game, take people, have them sign something saying, I will not reveal any information about this new Zelda game. You know, sign some form of agreement, right? And let people beta test the game before it comes out to get rid of potential bugs. You could expand it, like take 1,000 people who really like the game, you know, and you say, oh, well, that's potentially, you know, what, 1,000 people, $60, $60,000 loss, possibly. But then you have great kudos if this game was going to sell, you know, 1 million copies or whatever. What's 1,000, right? And then to know that people have a chance to be able to play a game early, people would be like, oh my god, this company is awesome, letting people do it. I mean, sure, it's under the assumption of, you know, that you're playing the game and you're looking for bugs, or, you know, or you could even get feedback and input from hardcore fans of different series. I always thought that would be a great idea. You know, rather than let people buy it at launch and let them be the testers. But that's the thing. Like I said, the games are getting so big these days, they just can't test everything. But it feels that way. It feels like that they're not testing enough. I don't want to be a tester on day one, right? So that anticipation then gets killed, right? So if I buy a game first day it comes out, I can't do that all the time. Under the assumption that something might go wrong. And then years of build-up is just brought down even more. It's killed to know that I lose a save file. It's killed to know that something was game crashing, or oh, excuse me, just getting so upset about this, getting choked up. Why would I want to participate in that? I'd rather have the anticipation build up even more and let everyone say how awesome a game is, and let it really build up even more and more and more. And then to get it for less money than they did, and the anticipation is that much bigger, and it is awesome. Why would you not want to do that? Because it's instant. Because it's instant gratification. That's what new games are. And they're trying to get you in now these days with pre-order bonuses. Like a plushie or something with the Harvest Moon series, or You know, you might get some sort of extra mission, right? I don't... It's weird. They're trying to get your money, right? On launch day. They want to do sales. They want to do business. And I'm fine with that. I'm totally fine with that. But I can't do it. My wallet can't afford to do it all the time. So you have to pick and choose. You know, I can only pick a couple games every year to buy new. It's gonna be my favorites. It's gonna be Zelda. It's not gonna be a game I've never experienced. It's not going to be from some sort of series that looks good. But you know what? I want to get what I know I like. I don't want to test the waters with a new type of game. Or, you know, something original IP, right? I did it with Alan Wake, okay? That one was, you know, that one was worth it for me. But it's very rare that I got an opportunity to do something like that. It's too expensive for me to experiment with something on day one. It really is. $30 is really my price range to buy something new. $40, you know, that works too. But I can't do 60, especially for a game that I'm not familiar with, something that's not part of a series I'm already used to, like Mario or Zelda, you know, or Donkey Kong or Mega Man, whatever it is, Final Fantasy. I can't do it. There's so many ways to talk about this subject. I think I had more notes. I'm not sure. I dropped my piece of paper, so let me find out. Let's see. I wrote here, okay, pretty much everything I just said. You know, I wrote this, so of course it was going to come out the way I was thinking. But, you know, like I talked about, it's about being in control of your choices, alright? You can make everyone win. There is a way to make everyone win. But unfortunately it has to be to make games more affordable. And sure, games were technically cheaper than ever. Super Nintendo games and 64 games, they used to be more money, believe it or not, than what they are now. And that was when $1 was worth, you know, even less back then. Or is that the right word? I don't know. Basically, if a game was $70 then, it'd be the equivalent of like an $80 game now, right? A decade ago. Games were more money back then. They're cheaper than ever right now. But especially in this economy, it doesn't feel like they're cheaper. And with so many games out all the time, it's just... I'd rather go retro game hunting because those I can buy in bundles and still get so many hours out of it. And so much replayability. Like I said, no matter what way you look at it, everything comes down to who you are as a person. You know, what can you afford? It comes down to business. You know, what can they do to help? Everything's just all over the place. And so it's a mixed match of all my thoughts. I really don't have anything more to say on this subject at this current time. At least not until I read you guys' comments below, letting me know what you guys think. Remember, if you didn't watch the first video, go watch that now. And some of this other stuff will make good tied-in connection. I mean, really, it's something that's always bothered me when I can't support a developer. You know, even if they are a large developer, I want money to go towards making more of something that I like. But like I said, when it comes to original IPs, it's even harder. I mean, the beautiful thing is these days we have like Steam and what have you to make deals. But if you're a console gamer, you're pretty screwed with a lot of things. And I like being able to sit on the couch in the living room, being able to do this stuff. So what are you guys' thoughts? You know, I'm going to fade out here. I'm going to put up the wall of discussion, and I just want to know what you guys think. This is something that means a lot to me. I'm sure it means a lot to you too. So I hope I didn't misrepresent any of my thoughts or feelings, because sometimes I have a difficult time doing that, especially in an organized format like today. In fact, my webcam is actually hanging off of the ceiling recording this right now with a jerry rig. That's how professional this show is. Standards. They're going... Wait till season 3. We got one more episode left this season. So, anyway, I'm in Link584, and you know what? This has been, as always, an interesting conversation. Peace out.